Hey! I straightened up, glaring at my brother Zach. He'd pulled one of his favorite tricks, stomping on the brakes so the lurching of the car woke me. Yawning, I took in the rolling hills and barely paved side roads, fading to obscurity in the dusk. Where are we?
Just coming up to the turnoff. Thought it was time for you to stop playing Sleeping Beauty and start playing Creative Genius.
My nap hadn't left me feeling exactly enchanted, but they never did. Of everything I'd inherited directly from our beloved Gran, the only tedious one was our tendency to fall asleep the moment we got into a moving vehicle. She claimed hers started in 1929, when her family was on the ship from Rosslare to New York. I claimed mine started the hour of my birth, when she'd taken my squalling self from her daughter and rocked me to peaceful sleep. Either way, it meant no one loved the idea of my driving myself from Houston to the small town of Wimberley, Texas, where I was beginning a 2-month residency at FireWind, an artist's retreat Zach had badgered me into applying for. Since my trip there was all his fault, he'd driven in from Austin to chauffeur me, along with my sewing machine, bags of fabric and supplies, and hopefully none of the emotional baggage that had weighed down my attempts to let my art soar over the past year. What's the time? He tapped the dashboard clock so I could see it was nearing 7 before slowing at the almost neon sign for FireWind. The blacktop gave way to a cattle guard. Most of this area was ranch land before the vacation home and bed and breakfast crowds moved in, and then to an unevenly pitted uphill drive. I checked the spidery handwriting on the instruction sheet I'd been sent. My cabin is straight up the main road until the turnoff for the main house. Take the right fork and I'm the second one on the right.
You want to unload all this first or go straight to your big welcoming party?
The first group dinner and general meeting was due to start. What am I missing? The lowdown on the rules and regulations? Maybe some appetizers? Let's get this taken care of.
How you gonna get inside?
Zach asked, parking outside a neo-rustic log-faced cabin, totally square except for the 5-by-4-foot porch notched in by the front door. It was about what I'd expected, but the size of the wraparound windows surprised me, and the fact I could actually hear a babbling brook somewhere off to the north of my cabin was cool in a hokey way. They sent me the code for the front door. Everything here is state-of-the-art yet rural. I unbuckled, repressing my need to stretch until I stood up outside. Zach got out the first load of bags while I climbed the 3 porch steps and peered at the dark keypad until I could make it out well enough to punch the 4 digits. The control panel beeped twice at me and the door clicked. Freaky, I said, entering what would be my home for the next 8 weeks. I stepped into a little living area with windows overlooking a counter with a bar sink and mini fridge, a small sofa and coffee table, and waist-high bookshelf in the corner. I'd been in roomier waiting rooms, but the bedroom, which led off the den, was spacious enough for the antique double bed, covered with a machine-stitched green-on-green log cabin quilt, dresser, armoire, and side table, all functionally arranged around the 2 windows and 2 doors. The second door led to a short hallway, past the equally functional bathroom, and to the studio. The studio was perfection. As Zach brought in bag after box of fabrics, dyes, beads, threads, and my sewing machine and quilt frame, I flipped on the track lights hanging from the high ceiling and sighed. Double sinks and a large steel work counter lined the short wall. A bank of storage cabinets under the low wall divided the studio from the den, and the rest of the huge room was nothing but rough-hewn hardwood floors, vast windows, and a couple of easels and wood tables. The chair at the tilted drawing board was ergonomic. A rolling chair at the desk was smooth enough to slide me across to the supply cabinet with a single push.